I think that when you do have a child, for many people, gives them that sense of purpose. But I don't know that it's like real, right? Because just because you have like a biological and a hormonal drive to do something like that, and once you do it, it kicks in, those feelings kick in. It doesn't make it real. I'd like to think that I can make those kind of decisions a priori without the biological stimulus of my pregnancy hormones and like smelling the top of a baby's head and all that jazz.
Right.
And without the baby, not being pregnant and not having a partner, rationally, I don't know that that's a choice I would make in terms of like what I would look for to fulfill me.
So you can't conceive about this drive overriding your rationality.
No, I think that if I were to get pregnant, I would think it was the best thing ever, like everybody, and I would think my baby was amazing, and I would want to keep all of the housing projects out of my neighborhood so my kid could go to a good school.
Drive, yeah, and then you become
and I'd be an asshole too.
Yeah, you become like what's her name on TBS.
Which one? Oh, Samantha Bee.
Yeah, then you become like Samantha Bee. Like,
That's so funny. I was going to send you a clip of her today from South by Southwest to complain about.
What do you mean my kid didn't get in the good school? Fuck you.
Right. I'd be paying for my kid to get into a top tier but second tier university with my podcasting bucks because their life will be ruined if they don't get to go to Wesleyan.
Well, I'll tell you this, Brie. I don't think it's anti-solidaristic to have a child. I just think it's futile and it's not a solution because all it is just sort of reproducing the current state of affairs and saying, well, all right, I went through life. I got the gist of it. No, I'm just going to have a kid and like they'll just do the same fucking thing and we'll just keep going on.
Well, the counter argument is that nothing means anything. And you're just here for the time that you're here and that you should try to grab any joy from this existence that you can without hurting other people. And some people would say having a kid necessarily hurts other people, but let's put that to the side for a second. And that having a kid is one of the most fulfilling experiences that people have. Not for everyone, but for some people, they seem to really like it, and the positives outweigh the negatives. And it just makes logical sense just to want to hedonistically pursue that and any other thing that makes you feel good until your candle burns out.
I mean, I'm not opposed to having kids. I just think people, should be pretty straight about what they're trying to do with it.
What would you want out of having a kid?
Okay, so... See, I feel bad saying this, knowing that it's recorded. I don't want my kids to eventually find all of this body of video and audio of their father talking about how if he had children, he would resent them from day one. Why
would you resent them? Just because of the reasons that would make you into a selfish YIMBY,
I know, there's all this shit about, and it's different when you have a kid and you look at it and special and all that crap. And I swear to God, I would, if I had a kid, I'd take it and doctor hands it to me, I would just narrow my eyes, look at it, and just think, I don't know what to do with this. Go now. And I'd give it back, and then I'd drive somewhere. Maybe a can.
You would melt. You're so the type that you're so sentimental, Virgil. You would lose your mind.
Very suspicious of various drives.
You would be like, oh God, I was going to say Bill Cosby. We have to come up with different versions of ideal father figures.
Yeah, right. That's the other thing is that everyone's conception of the real is pretty much stitched together from crap they saw on television when they were a kid.
I don't know, man. I had a very happy childhood, and I really thought my parents did a really good job. And we were together a lot. There were teachers at my school. We had a lot of fun. They loved each other. And I don't have any of that anxiety that some people have about creating their own families or it being a negative experience, because frankly, my only real experience with intimate family life is very positive. My mother loved being a mother. My father was a very hands-on father. It was great. But I think my thoughts in it are very different when I'm in a relationship and in love. And I can see myself wanting to create something that kind of multiplies that love. But that's very different than the concrete reality. Like when I'm single, the abstraction of just a baby to have a baby. Like I don't think I would ever want to be a single parent. Some people just really want to be parents, and women are like, I'll do it alone.
Yeah.
I'm not interested in that. The thing that was kind of magical about my childhood was the family dynamic and the team sharing aspect of my parents' relationship. And, that kind of magic when it was all the four of us in the car going somewhere and being out in public and feeling like you were just on the best team.
Yeah, the feeling that you'll never get back again. Except through nostalgia or trying to replicate it by having a child.
Yeah.
Everyone has this obsession with childhood as this idea of, okay, we want children to have a good childhood. And this is a relatively new thing, right? Like 400 years ago, nobody thought about any of that crap. Yeah, nobody was like, oh, I hope my kid has a good childhood. No, nobody thought that way.
Yeah.
I hope my kid survives. Hope, 2 of my 8 children survive.
Yeah.
And that they can bring in the harvest.
Yeah.
There's an idea that, okay, you want to, no matter what problems that you have, maybe you have with your partner or you have in your life, maybe it's a money problem, whatever, that, okay, but the kid is sacrosanct. We have to make sure the kid doesn't know about the problems because we have to insulate them from the horrors of society and humanity. So that they can kind of get this little bit of enjoyment until they get old. And then it's like, all right, here's the real fucking deal, kiddo.
I mean, different parents have different attitudes toward that.
But that's the general idea. And I mean, that's a principle that I agree with, right? Because you're a kid, you're just born, people shouldn't fuck with you. We should, everyone should be smiling and trying to, happy and trying to make sure you have a good time. Mm-hmm. Like, generally speaking, and also educate you, whatever. All I can think is, that's a lot of work. That's a lot of work to conduct someone's trip to adulthood, to sit for them. Yes. And all I can think is, well, that's just not substantially different from what I already do.
Whose trip are you directing now? The patrons. This is this hang session that you're directing.
I think that's just a lot of what I do.
Okay, Virgil.
So make sure people are feeling good, feeling all right with everything. No one's getting too strung out, and we're just conducting.
The idea of it being a lot of work resonates with me. I think when you're single at a certain age and you're used to living your life with a certain amount of independence, changing that can start to feel like not that it's impossible, but I think you enjoy adulthood in a way that other generations haven't been able to. And it's a difficult and legitimate decision about whether or not you want to end those freedoms that you enjoy. But there's this other argument that says if you're trying to conduct someone else's trip, it can actually make your life better. Because as you're trying to make the world sunshiny and beautiful for someone else, you enjoy the residual benefits of that. A beautiful home, positive music, fresh flowers on the kitchen table, well-cooked meals, regular bathroom cleanings, whatever it is. And I mean, I don't obviously have a kid, but I remember there was one summer, a family friend of ours ended up moving in with us for the summer. I was home. I was living at home after law school. My brother was living at home. We were all home. And then this family friend, who's about my brother and I's age, moved in with us for the end of the summer. And while he was in our house, it was like the most magical summer of our lives because everyone was on their best behavior. He was close enough to the family to do family things and to us feel all open and frank with each other, but just enough outside the family that we didn't indulge in our lowest, pettiest squabbles. And everything, the way you put on for a guest, everything had that little like gold rim to it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we would try harder and have more barbecues and like take little day trips to Coney Island and like try to put on a little bit of a show for him and show off New York City and show off what our lives could be like. And when we dropped him off at the airport at the end of the summer, we all literally started crying in the car. And then we proceeded to get in the biggest fight trying to figure out where we were going to eat lunch. and so maybe having a kid is like that. Maybe having a kid is like when Matt stays with you for the summer of 2012.